Okay, fine. Let's proceed with the second verse. So the three verses are the prelude to the Srimad Bhagavatam. So they are like giving an introduction to the Srimad Bhagavatam. The first verse is glorifying the Supreme Absolute Truth, and the second verse is speaking about the important subject matter of the Srimad Bhagavatam and who can approach this subject matter. So that's being described, and the third verse is alluring all the readers to relish the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, let's recite the second verse. Dharma projata kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parerishvaraha Sadhyo Ridhya Avarudyate Atra Kritibi Sushrushabishtatshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of the Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So here, it is being explained that how the Srimad Bhagavatam is only establishing the real dharma. So there's a question here. What is the distinction between real and pretentious religion? Any answers? Yes.
Pure and mixed motives.
Say that again, please.
Pure motives and mixed motives.
Okay, so the real religion has pure motives, and the pretentious religion, the Kaitav Dharma, has mixed motives, some material motives. Anything else?
So the same thing, like Savai Pumsa Parvatana, it has to be unmotivated, uninterrupted. Only for the pleasure of.
Yes. So therefore, the real religion, the real dharma is only meant for pleasing the Supreme. The Kaitav Dharma, which the cheating religion, which has so many other material motives, is kicked out. Projita. The word pra, the prefix pra, indicates prakrishtena, that means completely. All forms of cheating religions are completely kicked out. And Prabhupada gives the example that just like when one sweeps with a broom, then all the unnecessary things are removed, thrown out. So similarly, the Bhagavatam is throwing out all types of Kaitav religion, all types of cheating religion, and establishing only the real dharma. Therefore, you see, Prabhupada begins by saying completely rejecting, prakrishtena means completely, rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. Okay, so let's begin reading the purports. Okay, we can read from the second paragraph.
In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature. Or, in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is striving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques and temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic
Gains.
Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification.
Continue.
In the Vedas, the above mentioned four activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialists because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well-wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competition-less society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competition-less society is artificial because in the socialist state there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are three paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him.
Okay, fine. So here, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about the Kaitav Dharma or the cheating types of religion. In the material world, we find most people practice Dharma for Artha and Kama and at max Moksha. So most people, they practice Dharma for Artha and Kama, and that is not real religion, that is not pure religion. But that is what we find most people they do. And therefore, the pure religion, pure Dharma, can only be understood by whom? Those who are Nirmatsaranam. Those who are non-envious, or you can see in the word to word Prabhupada translates as 100% pure in hearts. So Nirmatsaranam, 100% pure in hearts. So only they can actually understand the Srimad Bhagavatam, and they can actually practice the pure religion. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is explaining, that in the material world, very difficult to be free from envy. Prabhupada is writing, in the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. So we take any field in the material worlds, we find there is so much competition. What's the root cause of the competition? Envy. Because of envy, one wants what somebody else has and what somebody does not have. So one does not have something, somebody else has something more, then immediately there is envy, there is competition. How to get it? How to get it? So in that connection, Srila Prabhupada told these two stories, small stories from Hitopadesh, Panchatantra. So one story Prabhupada told is about the rabbit. You heard that story of the rabbit who was the lion was eating the rabbits. And so they had a meeting and they decided that so every day voluntarily one rabbit would go and become a prey to the lion. And so one day there was a turn of one rabbit who was very intelligent. Of course, Prabhupada tells the story for different purposes, different times. But so there was one rabbit, very intelligent, so he purposefully went late. And so when he went to the lion, so the lion was very angry because he was hungry. So it said, hungry man is an angry man. So the lion was very angry because his food did not come on time. So he started yelling at the rabbit, "Why are you so late?" So the rabbit said, "Sir, please forgive me, but I am not the culprit. On the way there was another lion, and that lion was going to eat me. And so I told him, 'No, sir, I meant for another lion. So I'll first go take permission from him and come back.'" So he said, "Okay." So that's why it became late. So the lion became so angry. He said, "Oh, there's another lion wanting to eat? Show me, where is he?" And so the rabbit took him to a well. And he saw in the well, he saw his own reflection, but he thought, "Oh, there's another lion." And when Prabhupada tells the story, he actually makes a sound. So the lion, he sees the other lion and he says, "Oh!" And he jumps into the well and dies. So competition. And another story Prabhupada tells us of a dog. So dog got a bone, and so he had the bone in the mouth, and he was going, and on the way there was a river. So there was a bridge on the river. So he was walking on the bridge, and he saw inside the river, and he saw this dog, another dog, and that dog also has bone. Same thing, his reflection. But what to do? That's the intelligence of the animals. So he said, "Oh, that dog also has bone. I want that also." And so he immediately started barking. And what happened? He lost his own bone. And of course there was no dog there. So anyway, the point is how there is competition even in animal society. Even amongst the animals there's so much competition. And then amongst the humans so much competition because of envy. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy but are well-wishers to everyone. And before that, Prabhupada says, such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. And they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam can actually be understood only by the Nirmatsaranam, those who are non-envious. So where in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna says that Bhagavad Gita can be understood by only those who are non-envious? Okay, that's one reference. Yes, Krishna is telling Arjuna, I am telling you this knowledge because you are bhakta and you are my friend. Bhakto sime saka cheti rasime tad uttamam. So a devotee and a friend are supposed to be non-envious. But Krishna tells it more directly also. Which chapter?
Second chapter.
Yes. 9th chapter, first verse. Right in the first verse. Anasuyave. Yes. Right in the first verse, Krishna says, I am telling you this knowledge because you are non-envious. Anasuyave. And then later on in the 18th chapter, 67th verse, immediately after the Sarvadharman Parityaja. So there Krishna says, don't give this knowledge to those who are envious. So these different places we find Krishna is telling that this knowledge is not meant for those who are envious because, why?
They will not understand.
Yes, because they will not understand. Because Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are full of glories of the Lord. How can an envious person hear somebody else's glories? He'll immediately, why this person is speaking so much about himself? In fact, Prabhupada says in one lecture that some people say, Krishna is demanding full surrender. This is too much. Too much. He's saying surrender to me. So, envious person, they cannot understand all this. Huh?
Can we give the Srimad Bhagavatam to an envious person and say, you keep it, but you don't open it?
No, we are distributing the Bhagavatam to so many materialistic people who are envious. Isn't it? We distribute, isn't it?
Yes. All distribute book all to everybody. It's not anywhere.
So then what, are we not following Krishna's instruction or...
We are following Prabhupada instruction. Prabhupada says,
So Prabhupada is not following the...
they follow Acharya.
In a
It is Krishna's sanction. If that person takes it, it is, we are nobody, we are just a mediator. It is between him and Krishna.
Okay, that's true, but we are distributing.
Yeah, we distribute.
What you saying?
we try to distribute to the innocent people who are not atheists. That's the...
But we don't know, right, who's taking, who's not taking. Maybe somebody, envious person also can take, right?
Then we have to use Nimitra Matra.
Okay, so Srila Prabhupada, he gives in reference to Bhagavad Gita, those verses where Krishna says, don't give this knowledge to those who are envious, na tapaskaya, those who are not austere, and Krishna gives so many different qualities. So Prabhupada says a few things. In one lecture, Prabhupada says, devotees are more merciful than the lords. So even though Krishna says, oh, don't give to these rascals, devotee thinks, okay, let me try. So this is one explanation Prabhupada gives. Now there is also another explanation in the Bhagavad Gita itself. In a further verse, Krishna says that one should give this knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, to those who have faith. Those who have faith. Faith, Shraddha. So in that purport, Srila Prabhupada says that yes, we have open classes where Bhagavad Gita is openly discussed, because maybe even though there may be atheistic people, envious people, but they may have some faith. They may have some faith. See, if they have zero faith, then they won't even begin to read or begin to hear. They won't do anything, isn't it? Some faith is there. Okay, envy is there, but some faith is there. So then they become qualified because they have some faith. That's another explanation. Another explanation Prabhupada gives is, okay, so Krishna is saying that Bhagavad Gita should be discussed only amongst devotees. So he says, so our task is to first make a devotee and then discuss Bhagavad Gita with them. Double task. So like that, Srila Prabhupada gives different explanations in different places.
Prabhu, take my example to me. I am a not devotee in army. When I get for regulative principle, breaking, playing card, I can't read the self-realization. Then I slowly be a devotee now.
Correct. Yeah, so some little faith is there. So that's how one can accept and one can proceed, and then by reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, one gets purified. Yes.
So one thing I was thinking in that aspect, that we are here in the material world because of envy.
Correct.
So it's impossible to find like saint person envious. So understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, if you literally take this.
Yes. In fact, that's what Prabhupada is writing here, isn't it? What is Prabhupada writing here? In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else.
Yes.
So it's a fact. Because we've come into the material world with envy. Because of envy, So to get rid of envy is the last thing practically. It's so difficult. So that's the reality. Everyone is envious of everyone else. So how will you find a person without envy? Very difficult. But then the solution is, okay, then get the Bhagavatam and then practice. That's the solution. Okay, fine. So let's read this quote from Prabhupada.
Dharma means the real characteristic. The characteristic cannot be changed, just like water is liquid. The characteristic is that every one of us serving somebody superior. Therefore it is said Dharma projita kaitva atra. Kaitva means cheating, which is not Dharma, which is not the characteristic. The characteristic is that I am eternally servant of God. Instead of giving service to God, I am now engaged in the service of the dog. So on the standard of this so-called service, the Bhagavad Dharma is not disclosed.
Yes, so that's dharma, means characteristic. That many times. Okay, this is there in the purport. Okay, fine. Let's proceed now. So that is dharma projita ketu.
I'm sorry, but I really have a question, just clarification with some terms. It's in the further report, paragraph, it's written Gyanakanda, Karmakanda.
Okay, that's coming.
And then, yeah, I just need a clarification.
Go ahead.
Because for me, Upasana Kanda was bhakti, and then I was considering that Upasana Kanda would also deal with worship of Vishnu.
Next paragraph.
But here it's mentioned specifically that it deals with the demigods.
In any case, you read the next paragraph.
This impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature is the paradigmatic feature, and above this is the impersonal feature of the absolute truth of our Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about the absolute truth in this personal feature. It is therefore higher than impersonal space relations in the Gyanakanda division of the Vedas, but to speak about the Karmakanda division. Srimad Bhagavatam is even higher than the Upasana Kanda because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, worshippers, the divine Son of Vasudeva. In the Karmakanda, there is competition to reach heavenly planet for better sense gratification, and there is similar competition in the Gyanakanda and the Upasana Kanda. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all of these because it aims at the Supreme Truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy.
Okay, so yes, so in the Vedas there are these various sections, and here he's mentioned that Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all these other sections of the Vedas, which are recommending different processes which are not in the category of pure bhakti. So Karma Kanda is basically talking about pious and impious activities, various pious and impious activities by which one can either get elevated or one will have to go down to the hellish planets. And the Jnana Kanda is especially talking about the mental speculation and trying to speculate on the absolute truth, by which one at the most comes to an understanding of the impersonal aspect of the absolute. And the Upasana Kanda is talking about Upasana, means worship. So worship of the Devatas, worship of different forms of the Supreme Lord and all that. So, but that is also not talking exclusively of pure bhakti.
For example, if I take Ishopakshi Upanishad, it deals with the worship of Sri Vishnu.
Now, okay, since you brought up the point of Ishopanishad, now you tell me, throughout the Isha Upanishad, now this is supposed to be Upanishad about Isha. Isha means the Supreme, basically, the Supreme. Now, throughout the Isha Upanishad, where is it mentioned who is that Isha?
When he says, Yahan
No, you show me you show me one place where the name of that Isha is mentioned. Any mantra where the name of the Isha is mentioned.
I guess this is because it's just only an extract.
But where is the name of the Isha mentioned?
Maybe in the other verse that are.
It is again how you see it.
There is no. You tell me where is the name mentioned? Is there a mention of the name? There is no mention.
But at the last
There
he
is
says,
Om.
Where is Om mentioned?
Om Purnamada Purnamada.
That is also only invocation. That is not a part of the Ishopanishad. That's only invocation. Invocation, the invocation is not a part of the Ishopanishad. And that also is talking about Om. Om Purnam, Om. It's all Om. But the invocation is not part of the Ishopanishad. That has just been put over there.
But even when we talk about when he says remove the light,
Yes.
we understand implicitly.
Now you say implicitly, but where is the name of Isha mentioned? This is the Upanishadic language. So the Upanishadic language is all indirects. But there is so it's all parokshavad, all indirects. But there is one verse in the 11th canto, I don't remember the exact reference now, where Krishna is speaking to Uddhav, the Uddhav Gita, where Krishna is saying, I very much appreciate this parokshavad, this indirect language. Why?
Bewilders the devils.
Because Krishna does not like to reveal himself. And he says it in the Bhagavad Gita also. Which verse? Yes, 725. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita. So Krishna never likes to reveal himself directly. So everything is covered. Everything is indirect. Therefore, one can read all the Vedas, all the Upanishads, and become Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, and still never understand what is the aim of the Vedas.
If I take Vishnu Puran, Skanda Puran, Padma Puran, Brahmavamsa Puran, then they advocate.
Then those are Puranas, Sattvic Puranas, which are talking about Vishnu. So yes, there may be some references there. Those are of course Sattvic Puranas, but in the Vedas especially, those are Puranas. Puranas are different. Puranas give more direct evidence.
Gopal Tapani Upanishad, for example.
Yes, there are some Upanishads like that. And even there, these few verses are clouded among so many others. Our acharyas selectively pick up what is relevant.
So is it part from Upasana Kanda? Those which I mentioned are part from.
Yes, so all these Upasana Kand, so they are part of the Vedas, which has basically worship of all these various devatas and deities and Vishnu forms, so many things. And most people, they get confused. Therefore, the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is saying, Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso muni pungavanam sopyasti yat prapadasamnya vichantya tatve govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo. So even if one travels in a plane at the speed of minds, for how many years? Shatavatsara, for millions and millions of years, still one cannot come to an understanding of the tattva of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, Vedeshu dullabam adhullabam atma bhakta